In this video, I'm actually going to be discussing the different types of licenses, specifically assisted living, behavioral health, developmental disabilities, sober living, etc. The reason being is because I'm involved in a lot of these different types of facilities that have these different licenses and what's required between all of these different types of licenses. So I want to make sure that you guys have a good understanding of what these require. So if you're interested, make sure to stick around. What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you have shown me. And if you have not yet, make sure to go check out the God Made podcast on most streaming platforms. Also, feel free to go check out legionassistedlivingacademy.com, where you can actually purchase the course, how I teach how to start your own residential assisted living from A to Z. And you can also book a one-on-one mentorship call. And there's a couple other resources there that you can actually purchase and start utilizing. Also, if you have not yet, make sure to go check out valleyalfventures.com. Check us out on Instagram at valleyalfventures as well. And if you are a limited partner or a passive investor looking to get into this industry, I would love to have a conversation with you. Also, if you are an operator looking to expand or potentially sell your facility here in the state of Arizona or in Texas or Florida, let me know. I would love to discuss that with you. And then also, if you are someone looking for a loved one or potentially know someone looking for any type of care home in the Phoenix metro area, feel free to reach out to me. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. Now, a lot of you have been asking me about behavioral health facilities, of sober living, also developmental disabilities. Primarily I have focused a lot on the assisted living just because that's what I originally started with on this channel. But in the past 2 to 3 years, I've been getting very heavily involved with behavioral health and sober living and developmental disabilities, just because those are such niche specific avenues within this industry that I was working with operators, came across potential properties that were offering this type of service. And so I obviously naturally got more involved with that. And so let's kind of talk first about behavioral. Now, behavioral is a very interesting segment and sector of this niche in healthcare, and especially in the residential setting. But with behavioral, there's a couple things to keep in mind. For a lot of individuals who look to get into behavioral, you have to understand you're going to be dealing with a different type of clientele. These are clients that are dealing with mental illnesses, whether that be depression, major depression, whether that be schizophrenia, whether that be substance and abuse, just different things like that your clientele is struggling with. And again, this is something that you have to keep in mind when you get into this industry, especially for behavioral. So behavioral, it doesn't change much in regards to the licensing process. Yes, now there are a couple key differences as far as what you need to do to the property itself. For instance, the things that you need to do to the property itself with behavioral is shatterproof mirrors. That's going to be required. Either remove the bathroom mirrors or actually put in shatterproof mirrors. You also have to remove anything that they could potentially hurt themselves with, you have to remove. So keep that in mind with behavioral, because these people are very vulnerable and oftentimes unstable emotionally and mentally. They may or may not do certain things that are kind of out of the ordinary. So you have to be prepared for that type of stuff. And licensing requires that the property is actually, as I guess you could say, suicide proof. And anything that can cause harm to them, they don't want that in the facility. So you have to be mindful of that. Secondly, a lot of these places really don't have ADA accessible bathrooms. So offering at least an ADA accessible bathroom, depending on where you're at, what type of state regulatory board you're dealing with, typically they'll require at least one ADA accessible bathroom for behavioral. Not in all cases, and it also depends a lot on the type of level of care you're going to be providing under your license, if they're going to require that you have an ADA accessible bathroom. With that being said, for the most part, those are kind of the two main things when it comes to the property itself with behavioral. Now, there are different types of staff that you're going to have with behavioral. Here in the state of Arizona, they're called behavioral health technicians. They're essentially the equivalent to a caregiver in the assisted living space, but they need specific type of training to handle certain circumstances and situations that come up within the facility. Also, you will need to have a behavioral health professional, which is also a BHP. And so a behavioral health professional is actually going to come in, do their proper assessments of the residents or the clients that are in your facility, making sure that everything is on track for them to be able to get through the program. And again, think of a BHP as like a nurse or a nurse practitioner coming into an assisted living facility doing their care plans for them. So that's kind of what a BHP would essentially do for the clients, is essentially a care plan, making sure they're on track, doing assessments, and their assessments are a bit different, more lengthier than care plans in an assisted living facility. So just keep that in mind with behavioral health. Again, behavioral health has been under some scrutiny recently, at least here in the state of Arizona. There was someone who was taking advantage of the Indian tribe here and the preservation in Arizona, where they were taking individuals off of there and making them sign up on the insurances and then billing insurances when those individuals weren't even at the facility. So as of recently, they're tightening up some regulations due to that. But with that being said, that's some things to keep in mind with behavioral health. Again, there's so much more that I can talk about when it comes to the behavioral health, whether it be the reimbursement, how that works, the different ways to structure everything and run the operation side of it. But again, that's something that I offer, and you can book a one-on-one mentorship call for that, and we can discuss further the needs that you may have. But secondly, what I want to touch on is DD, or quote unquote group homes. Now, here in the state of Arizona, developmental disabilities is something that is called, these are under the category of group homes. So again, do not get that mixed up, especially in a lot of different states. They have all types of different terms of what some of these facilities and licenses are called. So keep that in mind. Like with behavioral, it's called behavioral health residential facilities. In at least here in the state of Arizona, group homes, developmental disabilities is under that. So DD. Now, these are individuals who the clientele is really going to be younger, and it's going to be people who are with Down syndrome, autism, just very high level functionality that you're going to have to be handling. And so again, there's different levels of care when it comes to DD. Now, the same type of requirements go into the DD as far as what you need to do to the bathroom mirrors is shatterproof. They do want you to actually make sure the windows are also shatterproof, because there are situations where they may try to escape or have an episode where they may potentially punch the window trying to get out, or whatever the case is. So they do want to make sure that that's handled. And then again with DD, the nice thing about DD here is the fact that there's not really any type of zoning regulation when it comes to DD, whereas there may oftentimes be a lot of regulations for the behavioral health facilities and then also the assisted living facilities. So there will be zoning regulations for that. But as of right now, DD homes here in the state of Arizona do not have any type of zoning regulations. But with DD, they do have specific staffing requirements. The staffing requirement typically is anywhere from 1 to 2 DD caregivers to 1 client. So your staffing is a lot higher. Now, the reimbursement rates are a lot higher with DD. But that's something to keep in mind with DD. And so in a residential setting, they typically do not allow you more than 5 clients at any given time. That is just what they require from facilities, from the reimbursement and from the insurance perspective. They do not want to place, and you can't go and have a license for more than 5. They will typically require that you only have 5 at max. So with DD, you have way less clients, but the reimbursement rates are a lot higher, but your staffing is going to be literally 1 to 2 per client. So that's something to keep in mind with DD homes. Sober living, typically now those are required to be licensed here in the state of Arizona. Now, they have put pauses on new applications moving forward for the time being until they can figure out more regulations. to make sure that these places are just have more oversight. Again, with sober living, you're not making nearly as much money, and typically, you are relying heavily. You still need zoning for sober living, whereas like DD, you don't. So there's a lot of these little nuances between these different types of licenses and what you're trying to do. But it's just a matter of being able to understand the differences and what's actually required within each facility. Now, if you were to ask me which one do I think is the best, honestly, to me, it's not like which one is the best, which route. It's just a matter of what are you trying to do and what type of clientele are you trying to serve? What's truly your specific niche that you're trying to go down, and focus specifically on that and maybe diversify later on. But with that being said, I hope that this video brought you guys a ton of value, gave you guys something to work off of. But with that being said, make sure to go check out all the links in the description of this video. Make sure to go check out Legion Assisted Living Academy and ValleyALFVentures.com. And with that, I will talk to you all in the next one.